expected it.
Welcome back to Game a Movie Recap channel. Today we're going to tell you the storyline of a movie called Two Guns from the year 2013. This movie follows two undercover agents on a mission to expose a drug lord. Unaware of each other's true identities, they face unexpected challenges when they finally encounter the drug lord. So without further ado, let's dive into the story.
But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start.
The movie Two Guns begins with Bobby and Stigman driving together in a car. Later on, they separate and head to different locations. Bobby goes to a bank, while Stigman goes to a cafe located across from the bank. At this point, Bobby and Stigman are planning to carry out a heist at the bank, targeting money belonging to a drug dealer. Bobby takes on the task of monitoring the situation inside the bank, while Stigman keeps a watchful eye on Bobby from outside. Once Bobby leaves the bank, he approaches Stigman and comments on the poor security conditions, expressing how easily they could have stolen from the bank. To create a diversion and make the theft easier, they decide to set fire to the cafe, distracting the security officers present. The scene then shifts back to a week earlier, where Bobby and Stigman travel to Sonora, Mexico, to meet Greco, a powerful figure in the drug cartels of Mexico City. Bobby presents a counterfeit passport to Greco, fulfilling an order placed by him. In return, Greco offers Bobby payment in the form of money. However, Bobby declines the money, insisting on receiving payment in cocaine as per their initial agreement. Bobby returns the money to Greco, requesting that he provides the cocaine at a later time. Following their encounter with Greco, Bobby and Stigman leave his location and head towards the city center. However, upon reaching the Mexican border, they are intercepted by police officers and immediately arrested due to their failure to present valid identification cards. Bobby and Stigman are taken into custody and placed in separate rooms for interrogation. Bobby finds himself questioned by Jessup, the head of the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration unit, while Stigman undergoes interrogation by a DEA agent named Debbie. It is revealed that Bobby is in fact an undercover DEA agent assigned by Jessup to apprehend Greco, the Mexican drug cartel leader. Unaware of Bobby's true identity as a federal agent, Stigman remains oblivious to Bobby's undercover role. Given Bobby's lack of success in capturing Greco thus far, Jessup grants him an additional 2 weeks to complete his mission. Following their release from custody, Bobby visits Stigman at his house and proposes a plan to rob Greco's money stored in a bank. Without hesitation, Stigman readily agrees to the plan. The following day, Bobby and Stigman surveil Greco's residence to gather intelligence on his activities and his associates. Upon observing one of Greco's men leaving with a suitcase, they immediately trail the vehicle, confirming their suspicions that the money is being transported to the bank they plan to rob. On the eve of the bank heist, Bobby meets Debbie at a hotel, spending a night together and informing her about the impending robbery planned by him and Stigman. Prior to their separation, Quince gives Stigman the order to kill Bobby after he successfully completes the robbery mission. The following day, Bobby and Stigman put their plan into action. Donning masks, they approach the bank and enter, brandishing their weapons at everyone present, including security officers and bank employees. Instructing everyone to lie down, Stigman proceeds to the safe and detonates each money locker, causing them to open. Swiftly, Stigman collects the money and transfers it to their prepared getaway vehicle. Once all the money is loaded, they swiftly exit the bank. Bobby and Stigman drive the car to a desert location, where they stop to assess the money. It is at this moment that a sudden tense exchange occurs between Bobby and Stigman, each pointing their guns at the other. Stigman acts with swiftness, shooting Bobby until he falls incapacitated. At that moment, Stigman notices the badge in Bobby's hand, realizing that he is a DEA agent. Leaving Bobby behind, Stigman takes the car laden with money. Meanwhile, a CIA agent arrives at the bank that Bobby and Stigman had previously robbed. During their meeting, it is revealed that a portion of the stolen bank funds belonged to CIA agents. Meanwhile, Stigman arrives at the military police headquarters to deliver the stolen money from the bank robbery to Captain Quince. The total amount they managed to steal amounts to $43 million. Stigman informs Quince that he has eliminated Bobby, but Quince remains uncertain and insists on verifying Bobby's death firsthand. In response, Quince and his subordinates swiftly head to the desert where Stigman shot Bobby earlier. On the other hand, Bobby miraculously survives the gunshot inflicted by Stigman, albeit with a stomach wound. He manages to leave the desert by stealing an off-road car from two passing strangers. Bobby seeks medical attention at a veterinary clinic, where he asks one of the veterinarians to treat his gunshot wound. Later, he reunites with Debbie in the evening and seeks her assistance in uncovering Stigman's background. Determined to locate Stigman and recover the stolen money, Bobby plans his next move. Meanwhile, a CIA agent tracks Bobby's whereabouts to the veterinary clinic, acting on reports of the stolen off-road car. The agent questions the veterinarian about Bobby's current location, but the vet remains genuinely unaware of his whereabouts. That night, Bobby visits Stigman's house in search of him and to uncover his true identity. However, Stigman is not present as he hides in the adjacent apartment, evading Quince and his subordinates. In a brief encounter, Bobby quickly locates Stigman and inquiries about the stolen money. Suddenly, their conversation is interrupted by the sudden arrival of Quince and his troops at Stigman's location. Surprisingly, Stigman decides to assist Bobby, warning him of the approaching Quince's forces. Urging Bobby to leave before being spotted, Stigman aids his escape by methodically eliminating the members of Quince's squad with a prepared long-barreled rifle. The ensuing intense shootout between Bobby, Stigman, and Quince's army unfolds. Ultimately, Bobby manages to flee the scene after causing a strategic explosion. Meanwhile, CIA agents confront Jessup, coercing him to divulge all the details about Bobby's bank robbery. Unexpectedly, Bobby arrives at Jessup's location, and in a swift turn of events, the CIA agents swiftly execute Jessup and capture Bobby. The CIA agent immediately interrogates Bobby about the whereabouts of the stolen bank money. Bobby claims ignorance, prompting the agent to threaten him with framing him for Agent Jessup's murder and imposing a lengthy prison sentence. To avoid this, the CIA agent offers Bobby a deal. Return the money, and they will fabricate a false report about Jessup's murder to the police. Reluctantly, Bobby, feeling frustrated, accepts the offer with no other choice. The following day, Bobby goes to Greco's house to inquire about the stolen bank money. In a surprising turn of events, Stigman appears and forcibly takes Greco, shoving him into the trunk of his car. Amidst the chaos caused by Greco's men firing shots, Stigman manages to escape with Greco. Determined, Bobby pursues Stigman's car into the desert, crashing his own car into Stigman's vehicle. Stigman retaliates by pushing Bobby out of his car and engages in a physical altercation with him on the ground. The confrontation between Bobby and Stigman is cut short as they choose to collaborate, revealing their respective identities and missions. Bobby discovers that Stigman is a Marine military police officer, while Stigman learns that Bobby is a DEA agent. Realizing they share a common objective, which is capturing Greco and recovering the stolen money from the bank robbery, they make the decision to join forces. Later that evening, Stigman and Bobby bring Greco to Debbie's garage, intending to interrogate him about the whereabouts of the stolen money. However, their plans are interrupted when Debbie unexpectedly arrives, expressing surprise and concern over the presence of the three of them. Annoyed with Bobby for jeopardizing their safety by bringing Greco to her house, Debbie's apprehensions are soon proven valid as Greco's men locate them and launch an attack on Stigman, Bobby, and Debbie. With no other option, Bobby, Stigman, and Debbie are forced to let Greco escape and attempt to flee themselves. However, Greco's men catch up to them and crash into their car. The impact leaves them momentarily unconscious, and when Bobby and Stigman regain consciousness, they realize that Debbie is no longer in the backseat of the car. Subsequently, they are taken to Greco's ranch in Mexico, where they are subjected to a brutal punishment. Hanging upside down, Greco beats and torments them, using a wild cow to exact revenge for their previous kidnapping. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, Bobby proposes a daring plan to convince Greco that they can return the stolen money from the bank robbery. Despite the fact that neither of them knows the money's actual location, they decide to feign knowledge in the hopes of persuading Greco to release them. After hearing their offer, Greco agrees to give them 24 hours to retrieve all the money. Before Bobby and Stigman set off on their search, Greco warns them that if they fail to return the money, he will kill Debbie. That night, as they prepare for their mission, Stigman suggests that the stolen money is likely still at Captain Quince's base in the Naval Military Office. Equipped with gear and weapons obtained from Stigman's acquaintance, they brace themselves for the upcoming journey to Quince's headquarters. Armed with the acquired weapons, Bobby and Stigman swiftly made their way to the police military office in pursuit of the stolen money. Stigman skillfully infiltrated the Admiral's office, revealing all of Quince's criminal activities, while Bobby discreetly entered Quince's room to retrieve the money. The Admiral, upon hearing Stigman's explanations, made the decision not to intervene, recognizing the potential damage it could inflict on the Navy's reputation. Consequently, the admiral ordered Stigman to be expelled from the Naval Army office. Meanwhile, Bobby confronted Quince at gunpoint, demanding that he open the safe. However, to their dismay, the safe contained no money. Quince revealed that Debbie had orchestrated the theft and made off with all the stolen funds. As Quince's men closed in on Bobby, he swiftly exited the room and embarked on a daring escape. Bobby resourcefully sought out a military uniform, disguising himself as a member of the Marine military. Employing his wit and cunning, Bobby managed to elude the pursuing security guards, ultimately escaping after orchestrating an explosion within the office. That night, as Bobby was en route to Debbie's house, Greco contacted him with news of Debbie's untimely demise, attributing it to their failure to return the money in time.
Hello?
Determined to avenge Debbie's death, Bobby sought out Stigman to devise a trap for Greco. In a turn of events, Bobby discovered the stolen money hidden under Debbie's bed at the Quince Hotel. Waste no time, he promptly contacted a CIA agent, arranging for the return of the money and requesting exoneration from the charges surrounding Jessup's murder. The following day, Stigman arranged a meeting with Greco, offering to return the money. As Greco and his men gathered, Quince suddenly emerged, demanding 50% of the $40 million that Stigman had obtained. Sensing an opportunity, Stigman orchestrated a confrontation between Greco and Quince, pitting them against each other. In the midst of their negotiations, CIA agents descended upon the scene with a contingent of troops and helicopters, poised to seize the stolen money. In a daring move, Bobby arrived with the stolen banknotes and handed the keys to the awaiting CIA agents. However, in a sudden twist, Bobby and Stigman ignited the car and unleashed chaos by shooting Greco, Quince, and the CIA members. Their true plan was revealed: to incite a distraction and make their escape.
Nobody expected it.
Unfortunately, Quince and a CIA agent managed to track them down, holding them at gunpoint. With their backs against the wall, Bobby and Stigman swiftly turned the tables, overpowering and eliminating both Quince and the CIA agent. They then approached the dying Greco, ensuring that justice was served. Finally free from their pursuers, Bobby and Stigman departed from the scene, their friendship intact. In the closing moments of the film, Stigman proposed another bank robbery, but Bobby declined, revealing that he had secretly held onto a portion of the stolen money from their previous heist. And the movie finally ended. What do you think of the movie? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and support the channel by subscribing, and click the bell icon so that you won't miss our future recaps. And if you have any movie you want us to recap, please do tell us in the comments section as well. And until next time.